From the School of Journalism and Mass Communication at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, this is Carolina Week.
Good evening, and thanks for joining us for the April 4th edition of Carolina Week. I'm Bridget Williams.
And I'm Brooke Baldwin. We're proud to be bringing you coverage of Carolina news and events. The UNC-Chapel Hill master plan includes lots of construction in the next 50 years, but some residents say they're upset because of the proposed expansion, which threatens their community. Carolina Week's Tim Nelson tells us why.
Diana Steele has run Willow Hill Preschool out of her house in Chapel Hill's Mason Farm neighborhood for the past 31 years. But under the UNC-Chapel Hill master plan, recently approved by the Board of Trustees, the university will eventually acquire Steele's property, along with 2 other privately owned lots in her neighborhood. In their place, new married student housing, leaving Steele feeling
violated and shocked.
Acquisition of the properties is one of many proposals in the master plan that will affect the Mason Farm area just south of campus. Proposals that residents say contradict university promises and threaten to change the neighborhood's character.
But it's still not going to be fine for the impact on the neighborhood in the long run.
The plan calls for a new access road running through the neighborhood that will act as a southern entranceway to UNC hospitals, and the addition of a mass transit system corridor just north of Mason Farm. Jonathan Howes is the chair of the executive steering team for the master plan. He says the long-term benefits for the university outweigh the costs to the residents.
We just feel that if we're going to be true to the people who will be here 100 years from now, we don't want them to look back at us and say, you failed to get us onto the transit system.
This 200-foot buffer zone of green space separates Mason Farm from the university. It's here that the new married student housing will go, replacing that buffer zone, which was agreed to in a special use permit back when the Smith Center was created more than 15 years ago. It's that special use permit that is now the source of concern.
If the university can come through and get rid of that special use permit, then what's the validity of any special use permit?
But University Board of Trustees member Richard Williams says the plan will protect the community from future growth.
That neighborhood, that Mason Farm neighborhood, can know that this is the border as far as the university is concerned. And this is the kind of buffer that will be between the university and that community.
The university says it did allow residents plenty of chances to voice their concerns.
I'm not sure, really, that it has done any good.
Have they caused anybody to change their mind? I don't think so.
Growth to some means loss to others. It's a lesson Steele and other Mason Farm residents say they're learning the hard way. In Chapel Hill, I'm Tim Nelson, Carolina Week.
For now, Steele plans to continue running Willow Hill Preschool. University officials have yet to set a timeline for the beginning of construction in the Mason Farm neighborhood. With UNC-Chapel Hill's master plan approved, university officials are turning their attention to a different issue, transportation to and from campus. Chancellor James Measer has asked the North Carolina Department of Transportation to expand South Columbia Street. The street is designed to handle 9,000 cars each day, but it's clogged with more than 16,000. Measer says the street is critically important for people coming to UNC hospitals and others traveling from South Chapel Hill. Some residents think relying more on public transit is the solution. The DOT is reviewing the chancellor's request and will make a decision soon.
Ads and columns against compensating African Americans for slavery written by conservative commentator David Horowitz are being published in college newspapers across the country and sparking debate along the way, including here at UNC-Chapel Hill.
Thank you for driving a wedge between our black women and black men. Thank you!
On Monday, more than 150 protesters marched across campus, sarcastically shouting "thank you" in response to issues that are negatively affecting minorities in America. These students are particularly concerned about what they call increasingly uncomfortable social conditions on campus. Monday's publication of a column by Horowitz in Carolina's student newspaper, the Daily Tar Heel, helped fuel the protest that ended up in the offices of Chancellor James Measer and Provost Robert Shelton. Protesters dropped off notes to Provost Shelton asking for a meeting to discuss ways to improve the racial climate on campus. He came outside to speak with the protesters and agreed to a meeting. Carolina junior Tola Ottawalligan says a meeting is a good start toward making the university the best it can be for everyone.
It's the university's commitment and obligation to create an environment that's conducive to black peoples and all peoples.
Provost Shelton plans to meet with the group within the next 2 weeks, and he hopes other student groups will come to him with problems and concerns as well. If you'd like to share any stories you see on Carolina Week with a friend, click on our website, ibiblio.org/CW. 1 in 4 women between the ages of 18 and 24 will be sexually assaulted. The Advocates for the Sexual Assault Prevention, or ASAP, want to change this statistic. One way they're trying to lower this number is through the Take Back the Night rally and march. Not only women participated in the event, more than 100 men, women, and children marched together carrying candles and signs opposing violence against women. Carolina junior Sarah Bolin kicked off the rally with a performance of original guitar songs. They marched through campus and ended in the pit, where several females spoke openly about their experiences with sexual violence. ASAP and other campus organizations are also sponsoring a 24-hour rape-free zone in Polk Place.
Not many students want to spend their weekends on campus, but on Saturday, 250 students turned up to volunteer in Project UNC. Students who participated were divided into groups and assigned to various organizations in Chapel Hill and Carborough for the day. UNC student Richard Kwok's group volunteered at Freedom House, a drug and alcohol abuse rehab center. Kwok says his group made a real difference by volunteering there.
We did some flooring, we helped them relay the attic with some plywood, and then also we're doing some gardening out there, make it look a little nicer.
At the end of the day, volunteers returned to the quad for pizza and entertainment. Organizers of Project UNC hope it will become an annual event, but they remind students that they can make a difference in their community every day.
North Carolina is known for its beautiful blue skies.
But increasing traffic might turn the skies a different color. We'll explain when Carolina Week continues.
I think you should wear a tie.
Dad, nobody wears ties to school.
Tie says you're serious. It'll make a good impression. And remember, you're there to study,
to learn, and to make something of myself. I got it.
Almost half of all UNCF students are the first in their family to go to college.
They have some great architecture classes.
Dad, I'm not really interested in architecture.
Well, keep your options open. And remember, no girls until your homework is done. And I'd make sure that I got my lunch.
Dad, you're not going. I am.
I know.
Listen, we better get going. Don't want to be late the first day, you know.
Oh, yeah.
And when you're the first to go, you're going for a lot of people. The United Negro College Fund. A mind is a terrible thing to waste.
More and more people are discovering what a great area this is. But as the population increases, so do problems associated with crowding, especially on area roads and highways. Carolina Week's Caroline Patterson says local environmental and health officials are concerned that we may be in for another smoggy summer.
House Road. 40 eastbound, big delays already approved.
TGIF. The work week's over and many Triangle commuters are heading home. Well, after sitting idle in traffic. But traffic isn't the only thing people have to fight along Interstate 40. All those cars generate air pollutants which react with sunlight and warm temperatures to create smog. Bad ozone is becoming the most widespread air quality problem in North Carolina. Last year, the state ranked 7th in the nation for dangerously high ozone days. Tom Mather with the North Carolina Division of Air Quality says motor vehicles contribute half the ozone-forming emissions. Individual drivers, he says, can help reduce the smog problem.
It's just simple things like having your car tuned up, making sure your tires are inflated properly, and when you do, particularly during the hot summer weather when we have ozone problems, if you refill your car in the evenings, say after 6 p.m., that's something else that can help the air quality.
The increasing number of cars and pollutants is putting the state in a jam, forcing the legislature to move some potential solutions to the fast lane. North Carolina Representative Joe Hackney is proposing a bill to increase fees for motor vehicle emission and safety inspections. The bill would also crack down on inspection violations by service stations and mechanics.
I think the feeling is pervasive here and in the public that we have to take strong action to control air quality and to control emissions, and that's what this does.
The bill to increase inspection fees will fund the existing Ambient Air Quality and Improvement Act passed in 1999. The act will expand the number of counties in North Carolina requiring auto emissions testing from 9 to 48 by 2006. It will also require all gasoline sold in the state to be sulfur-free by 2004. Reporting in Research Triangle Park, I'm Caroline Patterson, Carolina Week.
The bills to improve air quality in North Carolina are part of the Clean Air Plan, originally proposed by former Governor Jim Hunt. It includes tougher controls on emissions, incentives for drivers of alternative fuel vehicles, and more funding for rail and mass transit.
Air pollution is a problem for all North Carolina residents, but in today's Speak Out segment, we found that students have other concerns when they're driving.
Cell phones and maybe even people like changing their CDs. I don't know. It just doesn't feel like they're paying too much attention to the road. It seems dangerous.
On the road, usually around Chapel Hill, I'm worried about hitting people that are walking in the street. But when I'm driving on the interstate, I get worried about like cops and getting pulled over for speeding or something like that.
So I mean, air pollution is definitely a problem, but I don't think cars are the only reason why air pollution is a problem.
I know I have a problem with cell phones. It definitely distracts when you're trying to dial and not pay attention to the road.
I try to watch out for other drivers, what they're going to do, and try to be aware of who's driving around me because you're interacting with other drivers, and you're on the highway especially, and there's no telling what they could do. They could be changing CDs, talking on their cell phone, combing their hair, reading the newspaper. I've seen it all.
Our sample is in no way scientific and shouldn't be taken as a reflection of widespread opinions on campus.
A former White House spokesman says he admits he manipulated the press, and he says he was good at it. In a lecture to UNC-Chapel Hill students and faculty Tuesday, former special counsel to President Clinton, Lanny Davis, said he diffused scandals by leaking bad news early. It was a job he loved and hated. His most difficult time was when he felt betrayed by the president.
The night that I learned the truth about the Monica Lewinsky relationship, which President Clinton finally admitted to, and I had been denying that it had occurred on television for a long time.
Davis recently published a book, Truth to Tell, that reveals some of the lessons he learned in the White House. Nearly 200,000 women are diagnosed with breast cancer nationwide each year, and some Chapel Hill women are doing all they can to reduce that number and learn a little more about their bodies in the process. The Carolina Women's Center and Lesbian Health Resource Center recently co-sponsored an interactive breast health workshop. The breast casting and breast self-exam seminar took place at the Women's Center and allowed participants to interact in an intimate celebration of womanhood and body awareness. For a small contribution, the women received snacks and personal breast casts. Barb Smalley represents the Lesbian Health Resource Center.
I think most women are really glad that they've done it, and they seem to really treasure their casts, and I think they have a lot of fun figuring out what to do with them afterwards, where to put them and who to share them with.
From this event will support future educational programs at the Women's Center.
A 10-year anniversary is something to be proud of, and if you're the Carolina Hispanic Association, you have a Noche Latina to celebrate. Traditional Spanish flamenco music and dancing were just a part of Latin Night's show on Saturday. The Latin dance group Que Rico danced the merengue, and student band Punto Cinco performed Latin American rock and roll. There was even a dinner of diverse Hispanic foods. UNC-Chapel Hill senior Adriana Pacheco says that diversity is the event's main purpose.
The Hispanic population here at Carolina is very small, so a show like this is definitely a way to promote it and let everyone know what the Hispanic culture is pretty much all about. And it's hard to see that on an everyday basis on campus. It
actually ended in the morning as students partied till the wee hours. If you'd like to share any stories you see on Carolina Week with a friend, click on our website, ibiblio.org/CW.
Luckily, the weather's improved, and I'd just like to see the sun really soon.
We will hear a little bit more about the weather in a little bit, but Kelly, how is it going right now?
Well, yeah, this week certainly has brought a lot of variable conditions to our area, but April tends to be that way, so it hasn't been bad all in all, though. But with these warmer temperatures that we hope to be seeing over the next couple of days comes more unsettled weather, which leads me to this week's weather question. According to meteorologists, what shape does a severe thunderstorm cloud most closely resemble? Is it A, a triangle, B, an anvil, C, a diamond, or D, a shoe? I'll be back with your answer and your weekend forecast in just a minute.
You don't know about the most important thing is where most fires start. It's right in your kitchen. If a kitchen fire starts, don't go running around. Get out of that house, get on to safe ground. Only parents should be cooking on the stove, and they should never leave what they're cooking unattended to. Pot holders, dish towels, paper towels, and especially clothing. They should all be kept away from the burners. Gotta be cool. It's cool about fire safety.
What's wrong, Mrs. Jenkins? Come on, you can tell me.
Well, there's no funding for the new reading program, and I've tried everything and nothing works. It's not fair. Nobody ever gives me funding.
When adults run out of ideas, they can feel as frustrated as kids. ConnectForKids.org has thousands of resources for helping kids in your community.
Mrs. Jenkins, holding your breath is not going to get you any more funding.
ConnectForKids.org, guidance for grown-ups.
Hi, and welcome back to Carolina Week. With the first week of April upon us, many people are probably expecting better weather than we've seen so far. Gray skies and unseasonably cool temperatures have forced a return to those winter jackets, except for the few people who choose to brave the walk between classes in just a t-shirt. Now, it is the first week of April, but with the first week of April comes some variable conditions. Now, April in the Raleigh-Durham area does tend to be a more mild month. We see an average high over the next 30 days or so of about 72, an average low of 46. And the amount of days we see rain on average in a normal year is 9. Now, April does tend to be a rainier month, so give or take a few days. But in a normal year, these are the kind of numbers you can expect for about the next month or so. Now, if we take a look outside and see what's going on the weather map, you can see it's busy, but the thing is, things aren't really moving too much. We've got a stationary front that's been sitting here for quite some time, and it's producing a lot of severe weather to our south. Now, we hope that this stationary front will stay stationary, but once it does start to move, we're thinking it's going to stay to our south, which means good weather is on the way for our weekend forecast. If you take a look at your Carolina Week 4-day forecast, you can see not much rain in the forecast over the next 4 days. Now, there's a slight chance for a few showers to pop up Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, but for the most part, it looks wonderful, and we didn't even put it up because this chance is so small. On Friday, we'll see a high of 74, Saturday, 76, Sunday and Monday, we're going to be in the 80s, and by Monday and Tuesday, we could see highs well into the 80s, which is wonderful for this time of the year. Now, down at the beach, things look great there as well. Mostly sunny skies both Saturday and Sunday, a high of 79 on Saturday and 84 on Sunday. Out in the mountains, we're going to see a little bit more cloudiness as some fronts do start to affect that area more so than central North Carolina. But things look good out there as well, with highs in the upper 60s, lower 70s out in Asheville and places. You really can't complain too much about the weather. And like I did say before, there's a lot of severe weather going on to our south, which kind of gets back to our weather question about the shape of severe thunderstorm clouds. What do you guys think they most closely resemble?
I don't think a shoe cloud makes all that much sense, so I'm going to maybe go with anvil.
That's what I was going to guess.
I was going to say shoe. Well, okay, most of you got it. Yeah, it is an anvil. Meteorologists tend to classify severe thunderstorm clouds in that shape. But hopefully we won't be seeing any anvils in the sky anytime soon, as this weekend does look very, very nice.
Good to hear. So the sun will be back, and we'll be able to have the spring sports, huh?
I'm looking forward to it. Thanks, Kelly.
Thank you, Kelly.
Well, the spring sports are starting to take center stage, and they're definitely winding down their schedules and getting ready for tournament play. Yeah, teams are definitely getting up, and also coming up in sports, we have Duke and Carolina in women's tennis, and we'll tell you about a very fast and very busy UNC-Chapel Hill student. But going to break, the UNC men's baseball team finally got to play NC State after a whole heck of a lot of rain, and the Heels sweep the Wolfpack 16-7 and then 8-7 in the second game to win their first 2 ACC games of the season.
change the world, you don't have to be rich or famous or play ball or lead countries. All you have to do is tell your family you want to be an organ donor. Talk to your family about organ donation. Talk to your family about donating life.
And I can definitely get that picture to you. I tell you what, I'll just send that. I'll send it out in the morning. Okay, bye-bye.
Hi, sweetheart. How you hearing today, huh? Good. Because I don't think you heard me yesterday when we decided that you are not to have business in this house. You have family. Where are your kids?
Upstairs, Jim.
James, shouldn't you be in that kitchen cooking my dinner right now? Because that's your job. Do it.
This woman may not have any cuts or bruises, but she's still scarred.
Welcome back to Carolina Week. The 14th ranked women's tennis team is struggling. They've now lost 5 of the past 7 matches. The Heels hosted Duke Monday in what Carolina assistant coach said was one of the best college matches she's ever seen. Erin Niebling and Courtney Zielinski in a close battle with Duke, but the Devils sent one just over the net, taking the win right here. A spark of hope for Carolina came in the singles matches with Marlene Mejia, who's ranked 14th nationally. She upset second-ranked Ansley Cargill 6-3 and 7-6, but the win was too little too late for the Heels, who fell to the Devils 4-3. Their schedule doesn't lighten up from here as they play their next 5 games, all against ACC teams. As the men's and women's track and field teams reach the midpoint of the season, one of the reasons behind the women's success is the fast running of Crystal Cox. She's one of the top sprinters in the ACC, and as a redshirt junior, she's already left her mark on the UNC-Chapel Hill record book. Crystal Cox is 3rd in Carolina history in the indoor 200 meters and 5th in the outdoor 400 meters. She says she's proud of her records and they will help her to get to one of her goals.
Every time I go out there and I win my race and people are like, you know, yeah, that's Crystal Cox, that puts me one step closer to getting my shoe contract with whomever.
Besides track and taking a full course load this year, she's also a single mom. Destiny is Cox's 1-year-old daughter.
And then my junior year, I didn't compete because I had Destiny. And that's my senior year now, and I feel like I'm rebuilding all over again.
Cox says that raising a child gives her a little added motivation.
It just makes me want to work harder in everything that I do now, because now I have a reason for everything.
Head track coach Dennis Craddock says he's impressed by Cox's progress back.
1 year ago, she was having Destiny, and now she's back on the track running 24 seconds in the 200. So that's pretty daggone good.
You know, we're all in life. We all have, you know, paths that we have to follow, and I just took a detour. The situation like this can either make you or break you.
Cox also says that she hopes to be named team captain next year because of the leadership she believes she can provide for the younger athletes. In case Cox isn't busy enough already, she says that one of her other goals is the 2004 Olympic Games in Athens, Greece. Heading into this weekend's matchup with Johns Hopkins University, Carolina men's lacrosse coach knew exactly what he was getting into. Current Heels and former JHU head man John House expected a tough game against the team he coached just a year ago. Number 5 Hopkins came out strong, early, and often while keeping the now 18th ranked Heels at bay. The Blue Jays' stifling defense limited Carolina to only 4 goals, as opposed to JHU's barrage of 12 scores. The UNC, after losing its past 3 games, faces another tough task in Charlottesville this Saturday as the Heels go for their first ACC win against Virginia. Simply put, the Heels got outplayed on offense and defense.
You know, we're hoping that we would come out and play a good ball game up and down the field, and you know, when we play a quality team like Hopkins, we're going to have to be near perfect to be successful, and we obviously weren't.
We've just got to come out and play hard and win these next couple of games, so we don't end the season on a bad note like today.
At halftime of the game, some local Little Leaguers came out to show their stuff at Fetzer Field. One future star shows he's ready for the hard hits of college lacrosse. And speaking of hard hits, the Heels football team is taking to the field this spring to prepare for what promises to be a very hard year. New head coach John Bunting started the full team practices during the last week of March. Spring deals will conclude April 21st with the annual inter-squad spring game. The players are using this time to get ready to a new style of coaching and prepare for what appears to be a very tough schedule early on in the fall of 2001, including the season opener against the defending national champion Oklahoma Sooners. The football team might as well just stay in the Southwest as 2 weeks later they visit the University of Texas and former head coach Mack Brown. We're trying a little something new this week on Carolina Week, and we're introducing the Carolina Week web question. The web question of the day is, should Joseph Forte return for his junior season at UNC-Chapel Hill or apply for the NBA draft? Go to our website at ibiblio.org/CW to vote for what you think. Well, Forte might have already made up his mind, but it'll be really interesting to see what the students think about this.
Yeah, we look forward to getting those results in and giving them to you next week.
Everyone's talking about it. Thanks, Devin.
Springtime in North Carolina is almost in full bloom, and so are the flowers.
You don't have to walk any farther than Franklin Street to find flowers and the special ladies who sell them. We'll share their stories when Carolina Week continues.
When you buy disposable and overpackaged products for your home, you're really saying, I'm fine with depleting natural resources. Pollute our air and water. Energy? Wasted. People tell you, hey, go for less packaging. Check out reusables. Buy stuff in bulk. Well, you tell them, no thanks. I'd rather throw it all away. Buy smart. Waste less. Save more.
His father left home today.
I'll be there
forever.
Wait and see.
He'll be twice as likely to drop out of high school. 30% more likely to attempt suicide.
'Cause I love you.
Even if you don't live with your kids, your emotional and financial support gives them a better chance.
The best friend you ever had.
Michael Jordan and Charles Corral are familiar names on the Carolina campus.
But you don't have to be a professional basketball player and award-winning journalist to become a legend in Chapel Hill.
That's 7? Yeah, that's fine.
Roses are red, violets are blue. There are some ladies on Franklin Street I'd like to introduce you to. They've been around for years, selling flowers on the street. Without their marigolds and carnations, Chapel Hill wouldn't be complete.
Legend in your own time.
Yes. Most folks in the Carolina community know exactly who these ladies are. They've been here for 50 years, so one could easily spot them from afar.
The flower ladies.
This is Mary Farrington, one of the original flower ladies. What's her favorite flower? Maybe the daffodils or the daisies?
I don't have a favorite, I just love flowers. Anything is my favorite.
Though she can't choose her favorite flower, she knows what time of year is best to sell her bright blossoms, especially the day her skills are really put to the test.
Yo, Lord, don't forget about Valentine's Day. Yeah, that's our biggest one.
But during the other times of the year, Mary admits the money isn't always so great, especially when her best customers, the students, are far away on break.
We couldn't make it without the students, and when they go on vacation, we can really miss them.
She may miss the students, but there's one part of the business she'd be happy without. All the preparation and time it takes before she can even put her flowers out.
You have to work the fields, and then you have to keep the grass out of them, and then you have to gather them and then put them in the water and bring them into town, unload them, take them back. There's a lot of work going on.
Their jobs aren't always easy, and their income fluctuates day to day, but local residents rely on them to be there, and that's what makes them stay. That makes Mary feel,
well, very, very good.
Well, that was a really wonderful story to do, and they're really sweet ladies.
They did. They seem really sweet.
That does it for this edition of Carolina Week. Thank you for joining us, and be sure to come back next week.
Until then, have a good night and a good week.
Good night.
If you have a story idea, contact Carolina Week at 843-8292. You can also visit us online at ibiblio.org/CW. If you have questions about this program, write Carolina Week at Campus Box 3365, UNC-CH, Chapel Hill, North Carolina, 27599.